Welcome to the ParentU podcast, where we want to frame the challenges of the teenage years for parents to see these years as a great work of sanctification in their lives and have a deeper understanding of each other and, most importantly, grow together in the grace of Jesus Christ. I'm Mark Long, and 5 years ago, I approached the leadership at Oak Mountain Presbyterian Church in Birmingham, Alabama, about a calling to pursue the hearts of parents and families with teenagers and to equip them to be proactive rather than reactive in their parenting. Here at Oak Mountain, we take the covenant that parents make with their kids very seriously. So much that when there's a baptism, Bob or whoever the pastor is leading it turns to the congregation and says, "Congregation, do you promise to help rear this child?" Well, in that covenant, we want to understand, what is God up to? A lot of times we think it's just, is it supposed to be some kind of good luck charm that I dedicate my child to God? And the reality is, no, it's hard work. It is very hard work to make a connection with our kids. What I've found is that a lot of times parents are reading all the books and getting all the encouragement and information they can of rearing young children, but then all of a sudden, around 12, a switch goes off and parents are looking at their child going, "Who are you? What happened to my son or what happened to my daughter?" And I use this a lot with parents, but the kid puts up one hand as a stop to parents, like, "Stop, don't get any closer." But then with the other hand, they're kind of waving them in. And that's where they are. That's the tension that they live in. So I want to figure out ways that we can help parents be proactive about developing this connection. So today we have with us Heather Parker. Heather is a licensed counselor and dear friend to Oak Mountain Presbyterian Church. So thankful that she's here. And I've asked her to talk about how we develop a better connection and why it's important to have a connection with our teenagers. So thank you, Heather. So Heather, why would you say it's so important for parents to have a connection with their teenager?
I would say it's important for us to have connection with our children from the beginning. A lot of how, like what your description of one hand going up to stop and one hand saying come in, a lot of that does depend on the connection that's been built for years before teenage years. And when you look at what's going on with a teenager developmentally, it's a lot that they don't even understand. And so to have a safe place where home is like a home base and there is a connection there that feels like they can be themselves and that a parent can be curious and not judgmental, can really create a lot of stability in a time period that's chaos for a teenager. There's something we use often, it's called the window of tolerance, and it's basically the space where you feel like you can be fully present and tolerate whatever's going on, whatever life is handing you, the ups, the downs, everything that's coming. And it's connection happens when we're within our window of tolerance. And so to help our kids learn how to regulate and develop a broader capacity to stay present with really hard emotions or situations or whatever, then we're creating more and more safety and helping them create their own safety because they're going to, go do their own thing one day. But helping them develop that capacity to stay present and feel safe, even in the midst of hard things, that's a huge part of our job as parents. And so I would say the connection piece is huge. I am not saying I have done it perfectly. No, you can ask either of my children, and they will tell you, I'm sure.
Now, why would you say it's difficult for teenagers to connect with their parents?
If you look at relationship in general, it's about safety and connection, always, no matter what the age, no matter what the stage, no matter where they are. Teenagers are trying to find their independence, and they want to know they can come home to a safe place. And so oftentimes a parent doesn't really know how to juggle that because we've been in this mode of instructor, teacher, provider. We're in charge of everything. And then all of a sudden, gradually, but sometimes all of a sudden, our kids are looking for more and more independence. They're looking for more and more individuality. And some parents don't know what to do with that because all of a sudden it doesn't feel like there's as much control. And so I think it can be really difficult at times for teenagers to feel like they can trust parents to hold that space. So if you think about any of us as a parent, my capacity to give a safe space to my child greatly depends on my capacity to hold on to myself in those moments. So you can't give to another person what you don't have. And so if I can't be present with my own emotions and thoughts and surprising responses, I'm going to have very little capacity to do that for my teenager. Well, they know that, and they sniff that out. And so if they don't feel safe, like my dad can handle this, or my mom can handle this without my mom getting dysregulated, or without my mom becoming super emotional or losing her own cognitive ability, they're going to shut down. But if there is a healthy connection, a lot of that begins with the parent's ability to be connected to themselves, to be self-aware of their own emotions, their own thoughts, their own hang-ups, leaning into what is it that God would want me to see about my own story and how it's impacted me. Because it's from there you can move towards people in connection once you begin to deal with your own stuff. Not enough parents are willing to go to their kids and say, hey, I realized I have missed the mark on this for many years, and I'm so sorry. And I don't expect you to sweep it under the rug or just, it'll be okay, but I'm so sorry, and I do long for a connection with you. And then being patient, and it may come and it may not, and that's hard.
So when you talk about building that connection, what are some of the practical things that parents can do to help build that connection?
There are some basic things that start from birth, really, that don't change even though you have a teenager. Attuning to your child, to your teenager, which just means that you're aware of what might be going on. Providing a safe place for them to attach without judgment, which it can be hard too. Being really curious. We sometimes as humans forget curiosity. If you think about a kid, think about your grandkids, and when they're really little, every question is, why? How does that work? Well, tell me about that. What are you doing? Well, somewhere along the line, we lose a lot of curiosity. And so when holding a mindset of curiosity towards a teenager can open doors that normally would be closed. And curiosity does not mean the Inquisition or 20 questions. It means truly being curious about, tell me what that's like for you. When a kid comes in and they're silent and quiet, or they're angry because someone was mean to them at school, instead of being, what happened? Well, what did you do? Well, what did they do? Being able to really slow down and say, wow, what was that like for you? Just total curiosity. That is probably one of the best tools we can use, and kindness. Like, we sometimes as parents begin to look at our kids as ours, that we are to mold or control even sometimes. And we lose this ability to be kind and curious about who they are and what they're learning and what it's like to be a human in 2023 and teenager.
Well, as I started at the very beginning, God makes a covenant with us. We make a covenant with him to rear children, to do the best job that we can. And I think parents have really, really good goals for their kids, but sometimes they're counterproductive to those goals because they don't have a connection. And so I long for parents to know and to have a deeper connection with their kids, just like I do. I want to have a deeper connection with my kids, and they're grown, having children of their own. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for what you said, and I really appreciate it. ParentU is a ministry of Oak Mountain Presbyterian Church. I'm Pastor Mark Long, and thanks for listening.